Well, welcome to the crossover. We've just seen Melbourne United keep their finals hopes alive. I've been substituted in to host this one, and to be honest, as of late, I'm feeling a little bit like a lemonade ice block on a summer's day where it's never your first choice, but if you have to go with it, it's probably going to just do the job for you. But it's nice to be here, Gibbo. I'm normally replacing you, but now we get to do a show together. What do you got on your mind?
Well, I thought it was quite an upgrade. I'm happy to have you here, Pete, because now I don't get the jokes about, well, this is Pete Hooley. We're both on, no confusion.
And we both had a similar haircut once again. David, now we're about to talk about that game. You just called that game. What do you think of it?
Controversy. The United did what they had to do to win, but Brisbane did everything right in one botched call by their own people. Sometimes it's your own people, Pete.
Well, we're about to discuss that. So first, let's get into the game because Melbourne United, they had to get that win. We keep talking about them potentially losing a game to New Zealand or Adelaide down the stretch to miss out on finals. Had they lost to Brisbane, you probably could have put a pen through them. They got it done. Wasn't always pretty, but that's all they had to do.
No, it wasn't. It was tough. I mean, they got a good lead. We all thought start of the first quarter, it's going to be a blowout. Brisbane did a good job to fight their way back, and they were right there, and we'll get to what changed.
Well, before we get your thoughts on that, Damien, let's talk about it. So, missed timeout call, a massive moment in the game. We're going to watch it here. It basically was the game right here. So, look at the score. And this is what happened. So the ball went out of bounds, and you can see Nico Fernandez, bottom right-hand corner. He calls a jump ball. So he is not sure who the ball is out on. So he just said, look, it's a jump ball. I think they called it a simultaneous touch.
A simultaneous touch.
On the broadcast, so he wasn't sure. And then, Gibbo, after what transpired here, he ended up changing the game.
Yeah, it did. Obviously, the momentum swung completely in Melbourne United's way, but talking to Scott Butler, the head of the referees, you cannot challenge a jump ball. So you see Vandy here, he calls a timeout. Now, this is on Brisbane's bench, in my eyes. He calls a timeout. It's also on the referee. So in this situation, as talking to Scott, the referee should have been to Brisbane's coach, Vanderjack, you cannot challenge this call. Do you still get your timeout? Obviously, that didn't happen. United inbound the ball. Chris Golden goes bang, bang from the three-point line. Another three to follow. That's game.
First of all, the ball was off XRM. So Nico didn't know who was off, so he calls jump ball. I would have loved to have seen the referees all come together and decide whose ball is it. But once that happened, Greg did the timeout thing twice. Tap, tap, and it was missed by his own score bench. Now, like you said, Gibbo, the referee would have loved to should have probably confirmed that. Do you want your timeout? And right after that, like you just said, it was like the air got sucked out of the Nissan Arena, and it was too hard for them to come back, even though they made a slight run to fourth. It was a costly error.
Well, you said you love the refs to come together. No other referee can see that underneath the basket besides Nico. So he calling a jump ball. Now, this was discussed before the season with all the coaches, as Scott Butler mentioned to us, Gibbo. You can only challenge the foul call, as you said, and you can only challenge out of bounds. Now, because he called it a jump ball and he wasn't sure who it was off, it's no longer an out-of-bounds call, technically, because you look at what they're trying to view in a challenge, it'd come down to, OK, if we don't have definitive vision, it's going to be whatever the call was on the floor. There was no call on the floor, essentially, but you're right, as Gibbo mentioned, the score bench has to basically say, we've on the horn, it's a timeout, and the referee turns around and says, do you still want your timeout? Because I'm probably sure he did. He probably still would have wanted it. You don't want to give much time to Chris Golding.
No, you don't, and that obviously cost him the game. He knocks the three down, big momentum, like you said, sucked the air out of the gym. They were up and about. Hard to say, but if that hadn't have transpired, Brisbane potentially could have gone on to win that game because they had all the momentum, but obviously that happened, it swung the game, and United get away with a big win for their season.
Well, hopefully we broke that down for you. Let's go check out with the At The Line boys in Sportsbet.
Welcome to At The Line. My name is Simon Legg. We're here to talk the NBL, and to my left, we've got Josh Jenkins back after a week off. It's good to have you.
It's good to be back. I'm absolutely pumped to be back, and the NBL is flying. We know it's Dunkuary, which is for a great cause. Someone needs to tell Scott Roth.
Yeah, can you please elaborate on this? I've heard about it, but
yes.
he didn't just complain, he doubled down.
Well, I was watching the Tassie Illawarra game a few nights ago, and Jack McVeigh, believe it or not, back-to-back dunks. So, $1,000 for Dunkuary. Scott Roth was having none of it. He was filthy that Jack McVeigh was celebrating about it. So, I mean, Scott Roth, let's get with the program. Dunkuary is all about dunks and making money. So come on, Scotty.
It's dunks and making money. It's also fun. And to have a player celebrate like that is brilliant. Anyway, we need to move on because we want to talk about the championship market. It's starting to spice up. We're getting deeper into the season. What are your views around? I mean, we know the Kings are.
It's a wrap. It is a dead set wrap. I am happy to say that if you are having a bet, then you can run the Kings through multis and all types of things because $2.10 for the Kings to win the championship, I think, is perfect. Yours for theirs, easy as that. Cairns are the tiny bogey. So Cairns should have beaten them a couple of times. They have beaten them once. Of course, Sydney beat them at the buzzer once. So Cairns are the only team who are a bit of a bogey, but Sydney all the way.
Well, we want to move on to Sunday's games, and the Breakers are playing on Sunday. They're one of the teams that are up there in the championship market, but they're coming off a terrible loss, and they're hosting the Taipans. How do you see this one playing out?
I think the Breakers will bounce back here. A terrible loss is a bit strong leg. Let's not be too, let's just lay off the Breakers a little bit.
We like to make statements on this show, though, Josh.
I know. I've been watching, don't worry. I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll be able to get the job done. Cairns are a good team, but on their home floor, I think New Zealand will win the game.
And you have a multi in this one?
Of course, there's always a multi. Let's go with the Breakers to bounce back. Will McDowell-White over 6 assists. He went off the last couple of games, even though they lost the game. And Isaiah Liafa over 2 made triples.
I like that. And the last game we want to talk about is the Kings and the Hawks. Talk me through it.
This should be an absolute beauty. Sydney will just trounce them. They trounce Brisbane by 50. This could be 55. People are underestimating how bad Illawarra are going. They're 2-19, seriously. So Sydney all the way.
Multi?
Same game multi for this one. Kings 11 plus, the big win, little win, simple as that. They'll probably win by 20, 30, 40, 50, who knows. Xavier Cooks over 20.5. He might just chill, but he'll 20.5. Let's take the over. Sam Froling eats rebounds. $6. I like it.
That's good and plenty of value. Now, if you want to follow Josh on, please make sure you do so responsibly.
You know the score. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Well, welcome back to the crossover. This man right here, Jack McVeigh, put on an absolute clinic against his former club. And Gibbo, one of your former clubs versus your home state. What a performance from Jack McVeigh.
Well, he was elite. Big shots in big moments. Adelaide were making a run. They got about to 5 or 6, and then Jack McVeigh stepped up with some big shots, and ultimate hype man had the crowd pumping down there. He was elite the other night.
Well, ultimate hype man. Now, he found himself in a bit of hot water recently in the week. Let's have a look at some of the things that transpired with Jack McVeigh. So this is against the Illawarra Hawks, and this is getting on a breakaway. Just throws it down ever so nice. And once again, breaking pressure. 16 seconds left on the clock. And this right here, so it's not a whole lot, but Scott Roth wasn't happy with this.
No, he's not.
He was fired up. Have a look at that. That is a father telling a son, I am not angry. No, he is angry and disappointed at the same time. But before we get your take on it, this is Scott Roth when he talks a little bit about sportsmanship and what the game means to him in a press conference.
It's just sportsmanship, and that's how I was brought up, and I understand the whole dynamics of it all. I'm willing to do what's right and what I believe how basketball is supposed to be played. And if 8 seconds to go and we're up 10 points and we think we got to jam a ball down someone's throat to prove a point, then I wasn't brought up the right way of how to play basketball. I get the rule, but I wasn't brought up that way.
Well, there it is. Scott Roth, the ultimate dad, the ultimate coach. Boys, what do we reckon about that one?
Well, I don't mind the dunks. Like they only won by 3 points, so I don't think he was concerned that he went down and dunked it. And obviously, Jack McVeigh doesn't get a lot of dunks, so he's pretty happy about it. I think if he had celebrated in front of their bench or in front of their players, it might have been a bit different. He did it down their end. No one could really see him. It was 2 his guys on the bench, but I mean, you've got to respect Scott Roth. He's set a culture for that whole organisation, not just the playing group, the whole place. So front office, staff, everyone, they know how they want to play and how they want to be as a club, and that's obviously not up to his standard.
I loved it. I loved it. Scott Roth, he don't just have his values written down on a piece of paper. His values are alive. His integrity says we do not do this under no circumstance. I don't care if it's going to cost us a game, even though it didn't, but that's what he believes. And this man, that's called integrity. And I love it. I love to see it.
But what happens when his fans are upset that they miss out on a final spot because they don't play to the siren? I think in terms of everyone being upset we shoot at the end of the game, you just play to the end of the siren, then we don't have to worry about it. Maybe the celebrating's a little different, but I think that just needs to be a blanket rule. You just play until the siren ends in the NBL.
Sam Frawling threw a hook shot from 80 feet to make it a 3-point game. The game was over. The game was over.
That's true.
Jack did not need to do that. He should have just dribbled it out because, like I said, know who you're dealing with. Scott's an old school dude, and he ain't going for it.
Well, it seems to be a little loose now, so we won't go full harden up. You've got a little almost harden up for us. What is it?
This is a harden up warning to the Adelaide 36ers. You guys went to Phoenix, that whole NBA junket you guys did where you made the whole country proud. You come back. You were my preseason pick to win it all. I'm sure there was a lot of people's. Since you've been back, Craig Randall has been sent home, and we all thought, it was his fault. Now the team's going to gel. Well, you guys are gelling is about as well as, I don't know, you're 50-50. You're a coin flip team now. So my problem with you guys is you're underachieving. You got way too much talent to be 11-11. Robert Franks, 6 rebounds a game, man. Come on, man. Rob, 6? No, it's not enough. Mitch McCarron, are you leading this team? I don't know what's going on. This team, you guys don't play with each other. Everything is too individual. Every now and then you might do something for each other, but for the most part, you guys are fundamentally a one-on-one basketball team. And you got 2 teams, all the talent in the world. So just know, if you guys go below 500, harden up's coming your way.
Well, geez, Skip, I don't know about you, but that felt full harden up to me. There was nothing almost about that. You're also one word away from a Kelly Clarkson song lyric, but we won't go there. Gibbo, talk to us a little bit about Adelaide 36ers in your mind.
Look, I agree. I had them top 4 for sure pre-season, early on. The thing that I was most disappointed about is, and it's always hard, you have stars on their team. DJ's gone to the bench. Sunday Detches, these guys should be playing 25 minutes. They haven't kind of had enough time to work out what their role is. What I was most disappointed their last game against Tassie, their bench was not involved. So when they sub out, they sit there, they're not happy. CJ Bruton, their coach, is up and about. Now, he's the only one talking, calling screens, calling plays, calling scout reads. The bench should do that. As a young kid, you sit on the bench. That's how you get yourself involved in the game, is being involved and getting up and about. But they were all just sitting there, not happy. Sydney Kings are a prime example of how that works. They've got guys on the bench that could easily start. They come in, they have an impact. Derek Walton goes to the bench. He's up and about because Sean Bruce is playing well. Angus Glover goes off. DJ Vasiljevic is on the bench happy. If they can translate what Sydney do to their team, there'll be a chance. But I don't see it happening.
It's an interesting one because guys like Mitch McCarron have accepted now that his role has changed a little bit with Ian Clark coming in. Daniel Johnson sacrificing his own game. Do you think CJ Bruton needs to follow the likes of John Riley, who's about to coach against, and shorten the rotation? Maybe just take out all those issues completely?
CJ has guys that he really likes to play at any given time. Like Hiram Harris comes on and gives you high energy. Galloway comes on and can just give you a bucket here or there. You're right, Pete. You can't just be random and anybody get a shot at any given time. Because they got, like I said, they got 2 real teams. So we're getting closer to playoffs, and you guys might not be there. So it's time to shorten your bench and make some tough decisions.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about this game coming right up straight after this, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the crossover. Tip-off is right around the corner out west. Have a look at that. The roof is off at RAC Arena. Cannot wait for what is a massive game, a double points game. Could have a lot to say with how the finals take place, and love when the roof is off. Damon, you ever given a chance to play when the roof's off?
Never did. I missed out on that. I missed on that era of opening the roof.
Well, I played in 3 of them, but I want you to have a look at this photo, Damon. You might not have seen it. Check out me getting fouled in this one by the big fella. No call. And talking about elite defenders in the league, Gibbo was one of them, but got away with murder defensively.
Look, if you could teach defensive wall-ups, that is absolutely elite. Straight up and down, arms straight up, doesn't jump forward. That's textbook defense right there, kids. If you want to learn how to wall up...
That would have been we're going to jump ball, we're going to challenge it, or whatever it takes. But speaking of this game, Perth v Adelaide, one of the best rivalries in the history of the NBL. This takes us back to a little bit of a memory where someone wanted to be a little tough guy. Have a look at this. Damon, have a look at number 1. Gibbo comes in about 8th man in.
Look at him holding me back.
Hold me back.
And then check out this at the end. We talk about how tough he is. He's got a few words. He's hiding behind Joey Wright.
No, it's Reece Carter there. he was holding me back. And
First off, he just wiped his mouth and nose with the towel.
Pre-COVID.
And he's just throwing the towel. Who'd you throw it at?
I'm not sure. I think it might have been a little DP or somewhere was in there.
Oh, that's filth by you.
This is pre-COVID, so it was completely fine to share towels. But we had some great games, Perth v Adelaide.
Oh, unbelievable. You keep saying pre-COVID like we're not aware that you played 38 years ago. Well, everybody knows that you played a long time ago. But this is a massive game. You mentioned Perth and Adelaide rivalry. Bryce Cotton has passed his fitness test. The great man will be suiting up. We saw an interesting rotation plan from John Rillie. What are we expecting from the Wildcats in this one?
Well, I'm thinking that the Wildcats going to do like they did just last game. John has worked it out. The rotations are short. Todd Blanchfield, sorry, man, it ain't going to work today. Michael Harris, maybe. I'm talking about a maybe. But he's going to go 7 deep, and he's going to go those miniature minutes. I call them miniature minutes. Wagstaff, Norton, and who else?
Travis.
And Luke Travis. No, Luke Travis is going to get some serious playing time. I got to play him. So I'm expecting the Perth to come out and do what they did in New Zealand and get the win.
If Adelaide lose this game, Gibbo, are we putting a pen through them?
Oh, look, it's probably still a little bit early to do that, but it's going to be tough. It's a logjam, but like you said, it's double points. Whoever wins this has a massive advantage to make that top 6 and huge game. And Bryce Cotton is playing. Hopefully he's not on minute restrictions, Pete, as we were just talking about, but massive game. And what an arena to play in. Sold out crowd, open air. Incredible.
It's awesome for Western Australia. It's awesome for the Red Army, and they're going to really test out the voice levels. People sitting around the beach, hopefully we'll be able to hear them. But I love we talk about the rotations because we mentioned it a little bit with the 36ers. I love Hiram Harris. I love Galloway. But I think with how much money you spend on this team and when you put it together, it's just not your time just yet. We're trying to make the finals. You've got to make some tough decisions.
I agree. You don't want to. It's not going to be Hiram Harris's fault if the 36ers don't win the championship. I can't put the fault on him. Like you said, Pete, I got to put the fault on the big money guys. Mitch McCarron's, Frank's, Cleveland. It's DJ. It's up to you guys to bring this team home.
Well, this game is everything. We talk about those double points matchups, the race for the play-in tournament. Robert Franks, he's going to be elite. He's going to have a big say in it, big test for Brady Manick defensively. So quickly here, boys, I need your tip because this game could really define a lot of things on the ladder.
Look, I'm going to go out on a limb here and go Adelaide. They haven't heard his half harden up, but I feel like Adelaide, after a loss, I think they'll come back. I think Cleveland will have a big game.
Okay.
I'm going Adelaide.
Wildcats.
That's it.
Wildcats at home.
Well, make sure you enjoy this one because the roof is off at RAC Arena. Perth versus Adelaide. Who's going to be there at the end of the season? We're about to find out. Don't go anywhere. We're heading out west.